Upgrades.
Hey, what's going on there, everybody? This is Sammy Leg here representing TeamJVS, here to give you guys another movie review. This is for Shazam, Fury of the Gods. This is the sequel to the 2019's Shazam. You got the whole entire crew back, of course, with Zachary Levi. The interesting thing now is you adding 3 big names into this one. Well, you got Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu playing the Daughters of Atlas. You got Rachel Zegler playing an alternative role. It's just very fascinating because the thing about this film, honestly, outside of when I went to the presentation at Comic-Con, which was a really interesting one, I was kind of like, oh, okay, this seems a little exciting. But outside of that, I had no interest in the sequel for it because the first one, where it was funny, I was like, I really couldn't take it seriously. Even in certain moments where like certain creatures were like, people were getting killed, things were happening, like it was a weird balance for me. And I was kind of like, it works, but it's not for me. Like I was kind of like, I really wasn't pressed for a sequel to Shazam. And also coming off of Black Adam, I kind of really wasn't pressed either because I was like, I knew that Black Adam wasn't gonna make any kind of connection to this. But after watching it, I actually enjoyed it. But now this is the one thing I'm gonna say, make sure you hear this very carefully. Just because I enjoyed it, if you loved the first one, this may not be the one for you. So I think we might be on opposite sides of the spectrum with this. And I'll tell you why. I'll go ahead and kind of break it down. In terms of scope and visual aesthetics, like some of the visual effects in this were actually pretty well done. Especially with, you know, the Daughters of Atlas, like their power sets and way they're using certain stuff. Some of it's actually visually, it looks pretty cool. I think certain moments where the CGI kind of a little spotty is like when you have like certain creatures and elements there, like sometimes it was kind of like a little off-putting. But as far as scope and the location and direction, I think that it was good to be out of pocket. I think some of the things that was really cool conceptually is when they had like the different doors and the rooms that you can kind of go through. Like I think they expounded on that and what that looks like. I think that was really dope. The other thing about this is tone. Like the tone in this one is a lot darker. Like a lot. Like off the first scene, like is really dark, and I was really surprised. I was like, this is awesome for me, but I don't know how other people are going to kind of take this, because most of the first one, like you're generally with, you know, Asher, Angel, and the rest of the crew, you know, because they're kids. This one, the kids aren't in it as much. I mean, they're here, but they're not. And the thing about it is they try to use comedy throughout, sprinkled. The difference with this one and the first one, which I didn't really care about, is that the comedy in the first one was actually pretty well timed. Like the comedy, like when you have like Darla, for instance, she was the cute as a button. Like all of her moments were actually legitimately funny. And in this one, there are very few and far between funny moments. Like it's not to say that they aren't there, that funny moments that actually land. The funny moments in this one, to me, don't land. So it's kind of like I can see some people looking at this as like this is really dark, and then you're trying to add and interject comedy. Why? Because the comedy is not working, and you kind of think it's like, is there a reason for that? Is it because they want to make things more serious? But no, like I just don't think the comedy comes off as natural, and I don't think it's necessarily with, you know, the capability of the actors, because the actors done this before. It's more so I think the way that they were actually written. Because honestly, with Zachary Levi, I enjoyed more this time around his emotional turmoil with some of the stuff. But him trying to do comedy just did not work for me. It kind of reminded me of kind of where they're taking Thor in that same trajectory. And I did not like that. Whereas with the first one thing I did like was when Asher Angel was in the fold and he was actually being very serious, and there's certain things he's dealing with. Like Asher Angel is barely in this movie. And so it's really just Zach Levi for the majority of the film. And I did not find him funny one bit. But when it became, the back half and certain things that were really serious, I thought that was really promising. I liked that. And maybe it's just the way that it was written. It just did not, like, the comedy just didn't land with any of the children. I think that the closest one would be Henry Dillon as Freddy. I think that if he didn't work in this one, I don't think even I would say this is better than the first one. But I think that I did like the trajectory they did with him. Certain things that they did, like he actually has a crush and stuff in this one. But generally speaking, like, they showed his strengths. Whereas they did that with Asher Angel in the first one, but they did that more so with him. I think that if they would have spread that wealth with the rest of the kids, I think it would have made more sense. They kind of gave the rest of the kids like small little taglines to do stuff, but it became like a running theme, because one of the biggest things that's the issue with this film, as far as the main character, is like he's not willing to do it alone and he needs the whole family. But for the most part in this one, the first one I was like, oh, okay, I'm really interested in seeing how they use the family. But now it's like Shazam family, I don't know. And I think that may be another weakness of this film. Thing I did like is when the action was going in the back half, it was actually really intense at times. And I was really surprised, because I was like, this is really, really dark. So I think the things that I liked elevated this one for me. But I can see if somebody had an expectation, especially from the first one, they were going to be let down, honestly. I did like a certain moment that was a really big surprise. And I think that one of the mid-cut scene was actually pretty promising. I don't know what it means. The end credit scene was, to me, a throwaway. But yeah, what I can say is I think this was, for me, it was a better experience than the first one. But as a whole, the balancing act on the first one may be better threaded for everybody. I'd rest this at a 6.5 or a 7 out of 10. It's between the two, maybe a 6.7. I think I'm gonna keep it right at a 7 out of 10, because I actually did enjoy this, and I think I'd probably watch this again. Whereas the first one, I have not picked that back up again. And a part of it is how long it took to get through them kind of getting into the fray of it. And I don't know, I just couldn't stand a lot of the jokes. But this one, it kind of had like a darker twist to it that I actually did like. Even not to say that the first one didn't have some dark moments, but what's really happening is pretty essential. And one of the things I did like is that if you look at a Marvel movie, like, you're kind of like, yo, what is going on? Are they going to address this is happening here and not talk about something going on there in another movie? And I think that, like, what DC has been doing recently, they've been addressing just that, which I think is really cool. But make sure you like, subscribe, hit the bell button. Let me know what you guys think of Shazam, Fury of the Gods. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace, people.